And we're live.
Huh.
I, on the opposite end of the spectrum, have been watching this YouTube channel called Comics Explained, where he goes into these 20, 30, sometimes 1 hour long videos and explains comic books.
Oh, that sounds so fucking boring.
It's so fun. He's like, well, this is Iron Man 1 million. All right, he's a beyond Omega level character. Basically, Shazam has come over from the DC universe and bestowed Iron Man with magical powers. His armor is made of mithril now, and he's invincible. And I'm just like, cool. All right, got the mithril Iron Man. All right, tell me more. Well, he's gonna face off against Galactus, the Eater of Worlds. Now he's a
Eater of Worlds.
And I was like, all right, okay. I listened to I don't know how many of those videos. Like I fell asleep listening to them last night. Had ridiculous dreams.
Dude,
ridiculous dreams.
I've gone through the same rabbit hole. It's kind of fun. I know it's not for Taylor, but they're like,
I like my.
They describe like what it would take to kill Deadpool or Wolverine, and how they've been dead before, but then part of a drop of blood got next to another part of a drop of blood, and then it just regenerated into Wolverine from there. Like you have to separate all the drops of blood.
Yeah, he'll tell like there are these like comic books that'll be like one-offs that or they'll exist in like an alternate universe than the main Marvel universe or the main DC universe or whatever. Because there's each comic book series has their own like multiverse with many different realities, and where like we exist in one of them. We're like DC Earth number 5, where comic book heroes exist only in the movies and comics. But DC Universe Prime or Zero is like the one that we're most familiar with. But then where like Batman is Batman and Superman is Superman. But there's like, I don't know, 55 other ones or something like that. And he'll go into all these stories. Like I watched one today, like telling the entire backstory of the Punisher. And it's pretty cool. He was in Vietnam, and they're telling like a Punisher Vietnam story that involves like rape and mercy killings and human trafficking and all this crazy. There's nudity. They're like real adult stories in some.
Is the Punisher the one who goes around and just like murders people who have done bad things?
He straight up murders evil people.
He's what the heck is the Keanu Reeves
movie?
I
think I'm thinking of Judge Dredd.
He's kind of John Wicky. And he doesn't really have a superpower that I know of, other than just being really, really good, like John Wick.
He's a Vietnam veteran, ex-police officer whose family was killed by the mob, and now he's very motivated and very well equipped and very talented, and he's like an expert tactician. So he'll just shoot fucking Spider-Man in the head sometimes. You know, there's episodes where he did that. There's a whole like alternate.
Did Spider-Man die from that?
Yeah, he killed the entire Marvel universe in one comic. He killed
He doesn't even have superpowers. He just has guns. That's hilarious.
Well,
he's like Batman. He's very clever with guns.
He's very clever with the guns, right?
Like the guy.
You know, if he needs a fancy bullet to get the job done, well, he'll just get himself some fancy bullets that can kill.
But Spider-Man has Spidey sense. He should have dodged it.
They were like this close. He just shot him in the head. And what did he do to Spider-Man? Was already, I think in that comic, Spider-Man was already fighting with like another like a villain. Like they were in the middle of a fight, and he just takes.
How do they bring him back?
It's one of those one-offs where they don't bring him back. He literally kills the entire Marvel universe. He kills all the X-Men. He kills all the Avengers. He kills every Marvel character that exists.
I get stuck in the who can beat who, like subgenre of what we're talking about. Like Hulk versus Thing seem to fight a lot, where Hulk almost always wins, but not always wins. Thing is the big rock guy from Fantastic Four. Superman in a team is not the best guy out there, but apparently he's the 1v1 champ. It's very difficult to beat him. He's invulnerable to almost everything except magic. So a guy like Doctor Strange, if he were to come over, Superman doesn't really have any defenses against magic. That's
psychic attacks.
How can magic hurt him if he's invulnerable to everything except for kryptonite, right?
And magic.
Oh, okay. Well, that answered that.
He could just slice him in two with his
kryptonite. And then there's like characters who like control like the molecular structure of things, so they can just be like,
Dr. Manhattan.
now you're water. You know, like.
And then the highest level characters are hard to even get, right? They're like, this is the creator, and the creator kind of translates into the artist who's making this in real life. and he's the most powerful guy of all. And you're like, oh, well, that's kind of cheating, you know. And then there's another one. Is he called?
What a lame ass LARPy way for some like fat bald guy to write himself in.
It's kind of what
Yeah,
happened.
I'm the creator.
Yeah, there are a bunch of it gets really convoluted and
The
difficult
space
to
or
understand in some
something,
to some regards, because like I said, there in the DC universe, there's like I said, I think 55 Earths that exist where each one has a different like setup. Like there's 55 different kinds of Superman. There's Ultraman. There's an Ultraman that's from a world where the Nazis won, so he's like evil Ultraman. There's an Ultraman where the United States is run by like a police state, so he's like totalitarian Ultraman. There's a whole bunch of them, and then like outside of that bubble that they call the multiverse, there's all of these beings that exist over that, and there's like hell and heaven. They both exist outside of that, where like you've literally got basically the DC universe is God and angels, but you've also got a Satan and demons, and you also have a similar thing going on in the Marvel universe, right? Because John Constantine from the Keanu Reeves movie is a Marvel character. You know, he exists in there, and there are crossovers where John Constantine is like working with the Fantastic Four and shit like that to fight demons. It's super convoluted, and there's so much source material because they were cranking out multiple comics every week since the 40s or something like that with DC, and since like whatever the 70s or something like 60s or 70s with Marvel. That there's just a
Didn't
ton
they have
of shit.
like propaganda comics back then?
Oh,
like
yeah.
in World War II time, where they'd be like, "Come on, Superman, we got to fight the Japs."
Oh,
They're
even
coming across
bigger.
the seas.
So there's one of the best Superman stories involves, it happens either during Reagan's administration or Nixon's administration. I can't remember which. I think it might be Nixon. But Superman is utilized to fight Russians. Like there's some island where there's like a pre-Vietnam buildup taking place, and like there's Russian tanks being placed on there, and the U.S. is like, all right, Russia, you want to fuck around? Superman, go get him. And there's this scene where Superman just flies in and he's grabbing tanks by the turrets and smashing other tanks and stuff like that. And he just like ends the fucking war in like an hour or something like that. I think that's also the one where it might be a two-parter movie that I watched, and Superman and Batman end up facing off in the end, and that's where like Batman defeats him with the help of the Green Arrow.
It would be hard to stay good if I was Superman, and even if I'm good, what's good exactly? Like America and Russia are at war, right?
Yeah.
Are we purely white knights here, or have
Hell
we done
no.
nothing wrong? You know?
Do you not know Superman's mantra? Truth,
I don't know.
justice, and the American way.
Okay, I hear you.
Is that really his mantra?
Yes.
Why would he care about America? He's from Zyklon or something.
He's from Kansas, you bastard.
That's right. He's from fucking Kansas. That's where he was raised, and he's an American. He believes in democracy and freedom, not fascism, not
the
communism.
people that he killed in that war, it wasn't fair, right? Like, let's say you go and there's a bunch of goat fuckers who turn their interest on some poor innocent girl, right? Who's being a sex slave in ISIS, right? What if you just like slowly tear some limbs off? Like you pull an arm off a guy and say, I'll come back to you. And then you pull a nose off another guy and a foot off another guy.
Got your nose, literally.
Throw that away.
Yeah, you would be evil if that's what you were thinking about doing.
As
Just
evil
going around
as them?
naming. Yeah. You were just given the lecture about with great power comes great responsibility, and now you're going off tearing people's arms off.
Hey,
just
that's a
they're
Marvel
raping
universe
goats?
thing.
I was saying it would be hard to stay
I don't know.
good because about the rape thing. Yeah, you're right. I guess so.
You know what would actually
You'd
happen
be dealing
is
some punishment.
Superman would come down, take the side of America, destroy Russia. Immediately, America's like, well, there's no reason to not be imperialistic now. We're going to go take Russia. And within like 30 years, America is now like the undisputed bad guy. And then he's got to go be like, I have really solidified a hegemony of the American people here. I'm going to go join the Philippines for a bit. They seem to be being okay. And then Duterte, after when he's not having, goddamn Superman rip off the arms of drug dealers, he's having him attack America. Like, and then eventually Superman would just have to leave because he'd be like, whatever side I take forms a world government that just dominates everyone. So I got to go.
I think if I'm Superman, I become like supreme leader, and I pull everyone under my control, and maybe each split maybe let the country stay or something like that. Let them have some sort of representative government, but I'm the final say, and I'm also like judge, jury, and executioner as far as any sort of international global conflicts go. Like if we're having a territorial dispute about where an oil pipeline can go in the Balkans, then I'm going to be at the meeting and I'm going to listen to both sides and say, all right, well, this is how it's going to be. And if it doesn't go the way I want it to be, there's going to be some Superman consequences.
Yeah, you could do that. That doesn't sound as fun. I mean, like,
do you want to?
It'd be easier to like. Go ahead.
You want to watch this short clip? I timestamped it.
Sure.
This is what I was hoping Batman versus Superman was gonna be. This is from the animated movie, and Batman is voiced by the guy who voiced RoboCop, whose name's escaping me right now. It's a good cartoon. Like I'm not that much into most animated stuff, but the Batman versus Superman cartoon films, or whatever you want to call them, are excellent.
He's like, I want you to remember that I'm Batman and I can beat you. I could have gone harder. But that's the knock they use against Superman. Superman can blow him up with his eyes anytime he wants to, but doesn't because he's too soft-hearted. Meanwhile, Batman actually wins. But wait, no, he didn't. He's too soft-hearted too. How is that an argument that Batman is stronger or better or capable?
With my total lack of understanding, it seems like when you wrestle a kid and you're like, oh, no. And then at the end, you're like, you really got me. And they're like, yeah, I really got you. Like,
yes,
really, you could have overpowered them. I never thought about the laser thing. Like, at any point, he could have just went bzz, and zapped him, right?
Yes.
We could have done that in Vietnam too, but it wasn't prudent. All right? There's just ways that you go about doing things, and you can't be like, well, you could have done this. We could have just nuked you. Well, yeah, but that's not how
that same
things are
argument
done.
applies to what just Batman just did.
Exactly. That's why I'm making
things
it.
like this. I have nothing to say because I don't know anything about the story.
I'm not going to get too caught up in who should have won this fake cartoon battle, but I say it's Superman, and that's why I love this movie. And if you watch the whole like movie, like Superman's kind of the bad guy in this movie. Like he's being ordered around by the president, and there's a great line earlier on where like Superman's like, even if you do beat me, they'll just send someone else, and Batman's like, oh yeah, who do they send after you? And it's like, yeah, right. Who do they send? There's no one else.
Yeah. If you beat Superman in a 1v1,
you've proven your point.
Yeah.
I love that. He's like, oh yeah, who do they send after you? And then he I don't know, electrocutes him or punches him with some sort of cyber arm or something like that. It's good. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, it was Superman versus Batman, the live action thing. He was like,
Yeah.
I could kill you anytime I want. I could just blow on you. I could look at you. Like this is really ridiculous. Why are we fighting? Why would you want this? It's like, yeah, that's so true.
Batman's my favorite superhero. This is a 2-part movie. And in the first part, I want to say he's old Batman in both ones. In the first part, I think we've watched this clip as well, but he's like, there's like this mutant like running some gang and it's kind of taken over Gotham. And he ends up fighting like the mutant badass leader in like a mud pit at the end. And he utilizes Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And he's like, this isn't a fight. This is an operation, and this is my table. And he like gets the guy in an arm bar and breaks both of his arms, like one after the other, and like maybe a knee bar and rips his knee out of joint and like it's really kind of brutal for a cartoon because he's literally like, we've seen arm bars, but the guy usually taps and it's all over and everybody gets up. He doesn't stop. He just leans all the way back and snaps the guy's arm and rips it apart. And all of his gang members are like,
It's like
every time
Ronda Rousey.
But she's real jealous about that stripper and all that blow you've been doing, and she's coming to break some limbs.